welcome to the Welty Environmental Center. My name is Mr. Aaron. Today I thought we might think about a tree's internal anatomy. Let's check out this giant tree cookie and go over it real quick, and then we'll get on to a craft to help us better understand. So here we have the center of our tree, and that's called the heartwood. The heartwood supports and keeps the tree standing upright. Then we have an area of the tree called the xylem. The xylem is where sap is moving in the tree. And if it were a maple tree, that's where we would tap it for that delicious maple sap. Then we have up here closer to the outside of the tree, we have what's called cambium. Cambium is the newest layer of the tree. On the other side of the cambium, even closer to the outside of the tree, we have the phloem, and that is where water is flowing from the roots to the leaves. And then on the very outside, we have bark, and bark protects the tree. Now let's do a craft, and let's build a tree. To build our tree, you're going to need a few things. You're going to need a toilet paper tube, some tape, a marker for labeling, a couple of rubber bands, a pair of scissors, and some construction paper. Now, if you have colored construction paper, I would recommend having at least 5 different colors. Now, if you don't have colored construction paper, you can do this with newspaper, or you can do it with lined paper. It doesn't really matter. But go ahead and pause our video and then meet me at your crafting table. First thing that we're going to need to do is we're going to need to cut our paper into strips that fit onto our tube. So what you want to do here is just use your tube as a measuring device and take a nice snip at the end, and then roll your paper, and if it's construction paper, it tears real nice until you meet the edge here, and then make another snip, and then we can take it off and cut down here so that we have our layers. Whoops, we got to make another snip there. There we go. And see, what we're trying to do then is make our paper so it fits all the way around our tube. So go ahead and quickly cut all of your pages into pieces that fit your tube. So go ahead and pause the video and join me after that is done. Now that we've cut up our paper into squares that fit around our tube, it's time to assemble our tree. Now, if you cut it all up, you're going to have multiple pieces, and you can use all of them if you like, but I'm just going to use one from each color. So starting with the inside of the tree, we have our heartwood. So I'm going to select the brown, and I'm going to label it heartwood. So go ahead and take your marker and label your layer heartwood. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make space here and just set it down on the table. And I'm going to move the extra out of the way. After the heartwood, we have a layer called xylem. So go ahead and label your layer xylem and place it on top of the heartwood. And again, move those extras out of the way. After the xylem, we have a layer called cambium. So go ahead and label your layer cambium and place it on top of the xylem. Now after the cambium, we have our phloem. So label this layer phloem and place it on top of the cambium. Now, on top of the phloem, we have the outside of the tree. Does anybody remember what that rough stuff on the outside of the tree is called? Well, if you said bark, you're correct. So the bark goes on the outside of the tree. And those are the layers of our tree. Now I'm going to take our tube and I'm going to roll the layers around the tube until they come back on themselves. And I'm going to take a rubber band to secure them. And really that's all there is to it. Now you have a nice little craft to help you remember the internal anatomy of a tree trunk. Let's open it up and go through it one more time. So I'm going to take my rubber band off, and on the outside we have bark, and under the bark we have phloem, then cambium, then xylem, and lastly we have heartwood. All right. I hope that you had a really great time with me putting together a quick craft to be able to help us learn and remember the internal anatomy of a tree.